So welcome everybody. I think we have everybody let in from the waiting room as it is. You are here to become acquainted with the Evergreen, the new UI, the user interface. Just want to preface this by making sure you're aware that that's primarily what we're going to be doing here. And this is going to be more of an overview. There may be some in-depth questions about some features you may be looking for in this release, and we'll address them if we can't, but anything we can't address right here, we will get back to you. If you do have questions, please utilize the chat. Leslie's going to help me because I need the help. So let's begin.
No, not at all, David. You don't need help. And if you type them into the Q&A feature, then I'll be able to answer those while David's going through.
So it would be helpful to know, I can see some of you on the screen here, so I have a fair idea of folks that are here. If you are not either a APS investigator, supervisor, or guardian rep, would you please introduce yourself in your role so I just have a better idea of who we have on the call here right now? All right, is that primarily who we have? I know that's what the introduction was sent out to.
I know I invited some of my team, David, to listen in. So there are definitely some folks from the Evergreen testing team on the call as well.
Well, there are a few names that I don't recognize. So anyway,
Yeah.
Hopefully if those roles are not the ones that you hold and there's something specific, please feel free to introduce yourself. But we got 40 people here, and knowing everybody's penchant for talking, we would be for most of the hour introducing ourselves. So if there's nothing more, we'll kind of get into it at this point. Pardon me, double clicking. So as you may or may not be aware, Release 3, which is what we're talking about here for Evergreen, is primarily addressing developmental disability and neurobehavioral functionality. There's going to be a lot more people who are going to have access to Evergreen than have had it in the past. And so that's really kind of the primary focus of Release 3. But one of the other things it does is it is providing an enhanced, a modernized, and much more user-friendly, I think, user interface. And ultimately, you will be the determinants of that, but I believe it will be something that you'll be looking forward to. There's going to be spending some time on the interface, which is primarily what this is for. That's going to do a fair amount of work looking at the home page, your landing page. What are you going to see when you sign into Evergreen? Look at a little bit of what might be coming down the road. There are going to be some changes to the way that Evergreen menus are going to show. Not as far as what's available to you. Everything that you have had access to in the past, you will have access to going forward. It just may appear in a slightly different place. I don't think it will be too jarring. And there will be some additions that I really think will not only enhance functionality, but make it a little easier for you in your everyday work. And we're going to be looking at that dashboard in depth, and then those next steps, including when this is all going to roll out. One of the things that is going to change is kind of the name. We've always referred to as either the report side or the APS side of Evergreen and the person side. Now we're going to be referring to that as a person folder rather than like a profile or just the person side, because it conveys what it actually is. It is the side of Evergreen that contains all the information relating to that individual from a bunch of different sources. So that profile icon that you've always seen is going to change to something that says the person folder. Same submenus, same information is going to be present, but there is a slightly different naming protocol. Also want to remind you that as we go through this, I'm using kind of a generic profile when we get into the actual looking in the test environment at Evergreen, and your screen may not be exactly like my screen, because the access to information is based on your role. And that will change depending on whether you're a supervisor, a caseworker, or a program manager like I am. So just be aware that some of this may look a little bit different to you just because of the roles that we're accessing. But the information that you've always had access to, you will continue to have access to. Okay, gonna pause. If there are any questions, please put them in there and we'll try to address them. Okay. So some of the highlights. That system toolbar, that navigation header is, which I often refer to when doing my training, is where the heck am I bar, is going to be reorganized. It's going to have some enhancements to the user and the person dashboards are going to include a brand new feature called My Notes. And they're going to act sort of like Post-its, sticky notes. And the nice thing about those is you can open those from your profile. And if you're taking information down regarding a specific case, you will have the ability to take that note and promote it into an actual case note in your file, right directly from your landing page where you sign in. So that's an enhanced feature. You are going to have other features in there like the message center, which is going to act like Outlook, but specifically for Evergreen folks. You'll be able to message people who have access to Evergreen regarding things that need to be done, things that you need information on, whatever, regarding your cases in Evergreen. As long as the person you're messaging has access in Evergreen, you will be able to reach them directly from that landing screen. There's also the ability to add appointments and tasks. Those will immediately appear on your landing screen when you open up Evergreen for all of your cases, and you have the ability to add those. And we'll talk about those in greater detail in just a few minutes. It does have a much more updated and kind of a cleaner profile. It's almost like it is enough of a difference for those of you who are very old in the tooth, almost as much difference as DOS 3.1 to first Windows. It is really a little more graphical, a little more, it's much more user-friendly and intuitive. And I think that you're going to enjoy using that. And you have that additional person record functionality. You can add activities, summaries. You'll be able to view summaries, the profile, and print documents directly from when you enter a case. You won't have to click additionally. This will become clear as we go into it. I know these are just words. It's always easier to see it. So the login, that system toolbar at the top, as always, will always be there no matter where you go in Evergreen. That Evergreen icon in the upper left will still be the Take Me Home button. It will always take you back to your original landing page, okay? And the navigation bars in that header are always available. There's different availability to things on each page. We'll get into that. But you have access to APS reports in the person folder, appointments, forms, letters, APS definitions. There's all kinds of things coming up, and we'll show that to you in a minute. But one of the real enhancements is if, for instance, you are a case manager, PGR. When you go to your home page, all of the tasks and the things that are due or the things that your supervisors requested from you are going to be available to you from that initial landing page. And when you select any of those items, it will take you to the case so that you can address those. And as it is now, there will be red asterisks that will tell you that you need to save the information. And when there's information that needs to be entered before you can close out a section of Evergreen, that's going to be marked by an exclamation point. And as we go through it, those same sort of orange circles that are there for the structured decision making, both in the intake as well as in the safety assessment, they're going to be there to let you know when the information's been completely entered. And if you hover over it, it will tell you what needs to be entered before you can move forward. The sign-on screen will be a little bit different in that the initial sign-on screen is going to be the same, but you're going to be followed up by seeing that little box you see there on your right that will make sure that you're aware that you are accessing confidential information and you're acknowledging that you are now entering into a program that has access to confidential information and can disseminate that. For some of us, primarily not for caseworkers, but for supervisors, and in my role, if you have the ability to cover for people when you log in and you're covering for somebody, or in my case, where you can have multiple roles that you can access, you're going to have to fill out these screens. They're going to ask you what organization, the location, and the staff member you're covering for. You'll need to identify all of that. If you do not have the ability to cover for people, you're just going to go immediately to your landing screen. So let's take a look at that home page. This is what it's going to start to look on. You're going to see a whole brand new dashboard and new items in the navigation header. Okay, that white bar at the top. First thing you'll probably notice is that the search has moved from to the right and below to right next to the Evergreen icon. Still has the same functionality. Depending on your role, you can still search for APS reports or for the person folder. Some folks will have the ability to search for organizations and other things as well, but primarily that functionality will still be the same. Whereas before you would have down below when you hit the search function, you would have the history of all your previous searches. Now you'll be able to access that history by clicking on that back record button. See the button right next to the search box? That will open up all your prior searches. So if you want to go back to something you just searched on, you have that ability. You also have the ability to do the advanced searches and using the same icon right next to it on the right. And then we'll talk about some of the rest of these in just a minute. Making sure I'm covering everything. Okay. So this is the new and improved homepage. The white bar is always there at the top. That's the where am I bar. It will take you, as the take me home, the Evergreen button. It has the search function, and it has these same tools and some additional factors as well. Okay. Evergreen continues to be role-based. So whatever you had access to before, you will have access to now. Okay. In the middle of the screen is what's going to be very different for you. And those are the tiles, which is what they're called. Okay. And each tile has a different tool, and some of your work can actually begin from there. You have the ability to actually manage those, but this is the new dashboard, and you have the ability to customize this for what you would like to see. You can pick up each one of these tiles and drag them, with the exception of the announcements tile, which is the one in your upper left-hand corner. That's not movable. The rest of these are, and by clicking on that Manage Dashboard icon that's in your upper right, you see it opened here. You have the ability to remove or add the tiles. If you don't want to see my tasks, you can unclick it and it will disappear. If you want all of them, have them all clicked. And each one of these can be picked and moved around and located wherever it makes the most sense for you. Okay, you just pick up and drag them just like you do in most other Windows-based programs.
And David, not to cut you off, but I do want to chime in. I don't believe anybody that's well, I shouldn't say not anybody, but our Adult Protective Services staff, I don't think will have the caseload tile. You won't see that at all because that caseload function works for like an explicit relationship to a person record. So like an assigned community case manager.
Okay.
So I think they won't see the caseload one at all, but they will see all the other ones.
So yes, you will have to go to your caseload for that one, but, and correct me if I'm wrong, Leslie, if there's any tasks that involve those cases or anything that shows up in the other tiles, by clicking on that, you will go to that case, correct?
So the tasks feature is a little bit separate. So they'll still use all their queries for their outstanding actions like that they've currently been using. but tasks is more like Outlook tasks. So they'll be able
Okay.
to create tasks for themselves, or their supervisor could create tasks for them. And then they can manage the completion of those tasks through that tasks tool. But the current, like, a good example would be for supervisors when an APS report goes from intake to supervisor review, you'll still find that information under your queries. You'll continue to use the same queries that you were using and the same reports that you were using for managing those types of functions. But if you want to track a task for yourself, or your supervisor wants to track a task for you, you can use the My Tasks feature for that.
Mhm.
The other bit that I should chime in on here, as well as the little sticky notes feature, the My Notes, the notepad. I'm not sure if that will promote to like, it won't promote to an APS report as a note, I don't believe. And I can't remember if it will for guardianship conservatorship or not. It definitely works under, again, the person record notes, like a general note. So if anybody has the ability to do general notes against a person record, like an EIS right now, and then they do in Evergreen, then you'd be able to do that. But I need to confirm whether it would work for either the APS or the guardianship one. So I'll try to find that answer while we're on the call.
Okay. Yeah, when I was in it, I just saw the promote note functions.
Yeah, it is a cool feature. I just think it only works for the person record level notes. So if you have the ability to do crisis notes, if there's anybody on the crisis team on this call, then you would be able to promote to like a crisis residential or a crisis um, support, or whatever I think there's a couple of different crisis note types that work, or a general note type. So if you're a role that has the ability to do general notes in EIS, you would be able to do that. But I'll get the answer to that, and I'll pop it into the chat for everybody.
Okay, thank you. So that dashboard, which everyone will have and sort of immovable, are things that have gone through FEI to be loaded into there, and it will be, you can see what they are. It will be notifications of enhancements, of scheduled maintenance, of when the system's down, or messages directly about Evergreen, and that will always be in the upper left-hand corner. And the caseload, which is not going to work for case managers, but so we won't spend a lot of time on this. But if it were to appear, and maybe at some point it will be, you would be able to go directly to that program, directly to that person from this function. So that's not going to appear in your case one, so we'll jump past it. Dashboard tasks can be initiated by you or can be initiated by your supervisor. And you have the ability to change how you look at them. If you have that tile open on your landing page. You can view all of the tasks, or you can just view the track tasks, which would be the tasks that are assigned you from somebody else. In this case, all three options are open. You're seeing all tasks and the overdue tasks, but you have the ability to put something in there that for a reminder for you to do something, or your supervisor can also put something in there that they're requesting you to do on a particular case, and that task is put in there. This will be one of the biggest changes, is the dashboard, the messages inbox. And this is an ability to communicate with anybody that has access to Evergreen directly without having to exit the program. They will show up in your messages inbox, and you can respond to them there. And then you can also send a new message to anybody who has access to Evergreen regarding something that's going on. And it will only be available to those who have access to Evergreen, and you can only message people who are Evergreen users who have the ability to log on and view Evergreen. So it's another way to communicate without actually leaving the program. And here's the sticky notes. And they're just like sticky notes. You can type in them, start a note, somebody gives you a call, you need to contact that information, use that information and record it immediately, going to be utilized for something else. You have the ability to make them and then to get rid of them, but it's just something where you can jot that down again without having to leave that page. And anytime you have access to the notes, you can do that without having to stop the work that you're currently doing to jot that information down there. Just checking the notes here. Okay. So at this point, let's stop the share. And we'll take a look at what it looks like in the test environment. Let me check the chat. Nothing. All right. So share my screen. Are you seeing my Evergreen home screen?
I am seeing your PowerPoint, Dave.
You are. So I did not do that quick. Stop that and let's try it again. Got too many pages up. All right. You should be seeing that homepage now live.
It looks good.
All right, good. Let me minimize this just to make it a little bit easier for me. So this is what you would look like if you signed in, depending again on your role. Up here at the top, this is going to be the same as it's always been with a couple of additions. The only thing that's changed slightly is the actual location, and some things have been moved around. At any time, if you want to initiate a new note, that is just to the right of the advanced search. Okay, there's again, based on your role, you will have different things in this toolbar up here top in the white space. My dashboard cannot be moved, but every other, and I'm going to cancel this now, every other tile can be moved around based on where I want to see it. Okay. You have the ability to click and manage your dashboard. If I wanted my caseload to go away, which is down here in the bottom left, and click it, it's gone, or I can add it back. Any of these messages, I can open them up. And it will take me immediately to the message center, which will list all of my messages where I can reply forward the same thing, pretty much the same functionality as you would have in Outlook. There's my tasks. Any questions, anything that you would like to see moved or done while we're here live before we kind of move on? But this is just giving you an idea of what the dashboard's going to look like and how you can maneuver through it and adjust it to meet your needs. Now, once again, go back to the PowerPoint. So let's compare. What are the differences? What are the real differences when we look at them side by side? The navigation header continues to always be available. It's pretty much the same, correct? The search has some new built-in flexibility to access some needed features as far as the person's or APS reports, but essentially it's going to be the same, and it's also going to be role-based. It should look the same as what you currently had. The differences are going to be like, for instance, the addition of being able to immediately open a new note directly from the Evergreen top toolbar. The search function. Again, you will have access based on your role. Most of you will not have the ability to search locations or organizations, maybe not staff members. You should still have access to both persons and APS reports. And the advanced search functions are still going to be there as they always have been. Primarily, the biggest change in this area is going to be the fact that you're going to have to click this back button next to the person search box in order to view your prior history of searches instead of it automatically popping up. Just before, you can search by person or report number, all the same things are going to work out. If you don't choose the right search function, you're not going to get the correct results. And I think all of us at one point or another have thought we were in report and actually in person, and then wondered why the search results either didn't turn up what we were looking for or it looked very different. So again, you just have to be careful to make sure that you're looking for the icon of a person or the icon of a file folder, depending on whether you're looking for somebody, for instance, a person who is subject to public guardianship, their form, the guardianship form in the person folder, or if you're looking for an APS report. So some of the action buttons have moved, but really it's going to look very much alike. If you look at the APS person search results and progress note screens, the what was to what is almost identical. Okay. And there is very little difference. You should notice there will be no difference in what you have access to or really in functionality. There's just going to be some minor appearance issues. But when you're actually in the program, in the places where you normally go, it's going to look very, very familiar. Take a look at menus. This will be a big change for some of you. If you're looking at the APS report menu, you are traditionally have seen that on the top, and now that is moving to the left-hand side. And it's being replaced by just not only a text, but an icon, as opposed to just text for the menu itself. Okay. And the sub-menu is now going to be to the right of the left menu. So if you're looking at, for instance, intake, all the information regarding the intake is going to suddenly appear as a submenu just to the right of that report information. Whereas before it would be here and then down below. But still going to have the same icons, still going to have the same functionality, just going to look a little bit different. If you're on looking at the intake, just as before, the completion requirements, you are going to have the orange circle. If you hover over it, it will tell you what information is lacking before you can complete that section of the intake. The same will be true if you are in the safety assessment and plan. The orange circle will indicate that you have not yet completed everything necessary to move on. And if you hover over it, it will tell you what needs to be entered into it. And you see it looks just the same, just in a different location in the new user interface. On the person side of it, again, the same thing, where you're used to seeing that person menu is going to be on the left instead of on the top underneath the white bar. So you're going to have icons, and again, the biggest difference, instead of a person summary, is it's going to be the person record, I believe. It's really hard to see. Person folder. Okay. But all the same information is going to be there. And one of the differences, again, is when you go into the person record, you have always had the ability, it automatically appeared, that submenu would be there with all the items under, for instance, profile, the record would be right there. Now you can toggle it on and off. If you want to see it, you can toggle it on and it'll appear there on the right-hand side. And just like under Evergreen now, you can navigate by clicking on those directly, and it will take you, for instance, to health information or whatever. Or you can scroll down through. The health information is also going to be on the left-hand side. Profile categories, same way. If you want to see them, when you hit the profile categories, the addresses, the physical traits, the birth record information, all of the critical alert, you can either scroll down through them, or if you want to navigate directly, you can toggle that and it will open the right menu. If you click on it, it will take you directly to it. Same functionality, just a little bit different than what you're used to seeing. So if you're in the profile, you have to toggle that on if you want to see it. You'll toggle right there. So let's take a look at it in real life. Again, I'm going to stop the share and see if I can get to it. Thank you for getting that. Yes, you will still have the query that will give you your list of cases, so that isn't changing. So if you want to see your list of cases, open the query button on that top menu bar, and that will list those for you. So stop the share and go back to live. So let's just search a person. I'm going to click that button to search somebody. All right. So this is what it would look like if you were in the person record. Okay. Again, the white toolbar never goes away. That secondary below that is going to have a little more information and have some more activities, have some more buttons, availability to do things from that submenu. You're in the person, listen. You have the ability to add an activity. New note, new appointment, new message, new attachment. You can view the summary, which would be the person summary over here on the left. You can print documents and you can view the profile. This dashboard is particular to this individual. So in this particular case, I'm accessing it as a community case manager. So you can see there's all kinds of notifications. Reportable event was here. But if there were any notifications for the case that you're in, those would appear here. If you had scheduled any appointments, they would be here. Any tasks that you've set up for this individual would appear in this box. Okay. If we open up the person summary, there we go. And if I can open up the submenu, clicking over here, and I can still scroll through it, or just click what I'm looking for, and it will immediately take me to it. Okay. And all the information that you would have in yours would be there as well, because there won't be a form here. There's a scroll bar so you can see all of that, but there's all the information you would have, and you would be doing all of your work as a guardian rep, or you've always done it in forms, which is right here. There are none, but so that's what it looks like when you actually get there. Oh, there we go. So you have the ability to do a new form. In this particular case, there's not a guardianship form, so I can't take you into that one. But
Yeah, I was trying to think if we have one in the test environment that you could look at, but a quick way to tell is you can use that little upside down pyramid icon in the upper right-hand corner there, David, and that will show you the types of forms that exist here. So this is our test environment, so it's kind of a mess, but yeah, if you go scroll down and click on guardianship conservatorship, I think I saw it down at the bottom. Yeah, click on that. Yeah. Oh, there you go. Then you that one
There's
right
one.
there. Yeah. Oh, and then
There
you
we
can
go.
open that. There you go.
So yeah, we do have it. And then the tabs are going to be essentially the same. The look is going to be a little bit different. Just like in other areas of Evergreen, whenever you see that right-facing caret, if you click on it, it will open it and show you whatever's information that's there. This is the test environment, so there's not much, but you would be able to see all of this information. If you go to financial, there would be the budget summary and the asset summary. Same way with the budget. Going to be very much the same, just going to look a little different. And you can open it. And there is all the same information you would be adding into a budget item if you were doing the budget. Same way for assets. Okay. So the petition, if it was in there, is going to be there. You can look at it. Case plan reassessment and then progress notes are going to be there as well.
Yeah, I think the central content of all of your screens should look very familiar. Like that shouldn't have changed really at all. It's definitely going to be the menus the way that David's been showing you. They're just going to be in a different location. But hopefully you'll adjust very quickly to that and find that it's actually nice because you get your primary navigation on the left and then you have your quick scroll on the right. So you can always have, both of those open at the same time if you need to. Really helpful. But I think it was actually good, David, that you clicked on that all forms list page. And I think that's good for everybody to see as well, because now that EIS functionality is going to come in here, there are going to be a lot more forms under that forms and plans list page. So that is a good quick way for you to navigate to the guardianship conservatorship form, is just clicking on that little icon in the upper right hand corner and finding the guardianship conservatorship. It's going to be down towards the bottom, and just clicking on that to get into your guardianship form, your open guardianship form.
Yeah, it just looks different. There's some enhanced features, but for the most part, the biggest change you're going to notice is that it's going to look slightly different. All right. Will APS investigators be able to see the case management side of things now?
Great question. I think there will be some, you'll have some access to view some of the items, Julie, not everything. I don't know specifically offhand what things you might be able to see and might not be able to see, but you'll definitely, when you go to the person record, you'll definitely see, like when you click on that all forms list page, you'll see that they have all those forms. Like you'll see a list of all the forms that they have in the system. And if your role does not allow you to have access to view the full form, when you click on it, it will just tell you that you don't have access to that form. So I believe we did allow for APS to see quite a bit of information that's coming over from EIS, because you guys used to also have access as public guardian conservator reps. So you will be able to see the stuff that you normally would have seen in EIS on the person record. And of course, the person record itself, you'll be able to see all that content. But then under the forms and plans, there might be a few forms and plans that you don't have access to, or there might be a few progress notes that you don't have access to. But in general, I think you will have access to see most things.
Yeah, anticipating a question which may come next, uh, you will be able to see more, but the case manager still will not be able to see the work that you've done.
That is correct. The people that are coming in from EIS will not be able to see any of the APS stuff. So they won't be able to navigate to the guardianship conservatorship form. They will not be able to see that they can search for or get to APS reports at all. And on the person record, there are a couple of specific APS sections for alerts and APS additional details, I believe, that they also will not have access to see. So rest assured that all of the release 2 stuff will stay private from the people that are coming into the system. But for those of you that are in the system doing adult protective services and public guardianship conservatorship representative work, you may have access to see more stuff now that it's being managed in the system.
Yes, so for all of you folks who have been putting like LIHEAP and credit union information in the APS alerts, they're still not going to be able to be seen by other people.
Correct.
Okay. So there's 4 new tools that are available in the green ribbon in the person's record. And that is those things I kind of showed you just a moment ago. Add activity, view the summary, print documents, and view profile. And hate to put you on the spot, Leslie, but the functionality as far as the printing, I know that they have the ability to print an activity range. Is that going to be included in the print function for like the investigation or the case notes? Are they going to be able to limit it by time, or is it just going to be the whole record?
None of the current print functionality changes for you guys. This it's probably a little bit mislabeled. This icon that says print documents is actually if you click on it in the live system, it has like a little I think it actually has 1 report right now. It has like
it has explore and view service record.
Yeah, so it's more like those are they're actually like little reports or special print. And that's all that's available under those right now. So the way that you would currently print things for guardianship conservatorship or APS, you'll continue to print those in the same location that you currently print them, in the same way that you currently print them. And also just in case you don't already know, any form that you're on. So like if you know, the new functionality that's coming in, if you have access to view a form, if you have that form open, you can use your control key and your P key on your keyboard, and it will open up a print icon, and it will print exactly the form exactly as you're seeing it on the screen. So like in this new user interface, all the sections of the form, when you navigate into it, they're collapsed. So if you have it collapsed like that, when you click the control P, it will print it with just the headers. You won't be able to see the information. But if you expand all the sections and you do control P, it will print the whole form and all of the fields and answers underneath of it for you. So you can certainly use that. We refer to that as the global print. You can certainly use that. And then the print report things that are under this print documents, they may or may not be available to some of the release to current production users. They're specific to some developmental disabilities type tasks, community case manager tasks, and BI care coordinator tasks. But we may expand that in the future to have additional print options available under there.
Right. So you have the ability to add a new note from pretty much anywhere in Evergreen. I showed you where it was right next to the search function. You have the ability to add a note. You can add an appointment, which is sort of like the Outlook calendar that you have already, but you can put this right in the case itself. The ability to do a new message and a new attachment can all be done directly from this the person screen. You don't have to navigate to the left or right. It's pretty much a one-click thing, and you're done. Pretty much anywhere you are in the person record. And as I told you, that's what the message will look like. You have a search function that works like every other search function. Put in a few letters in the name. It will go through all the Evergreen users and find somebody that will match. You have a carbon copy and a blind carbon copy. You need a subject, and you can type it in and send that off. And you can do that without ever exiting the person record. So you can go to the summary. And this would be the individual summary. There's the diagnoses, the medications, there's warnings, if the, care team, emergency contacts, anything that's been entered will be there. Remember that it needs to be entered if it's going to be there, but it will show up in the person summary right there. And we're going to, the print documents really, as I said, you have a utilization report, and they have some sort of exploration report as well. I looked at. There it is, exploration and discovery.
Yeah, and that exploration and discovery report is being generated off of one of the specific note types for developmental disabilities. So it's for providers of individuals who are receiving developmental disability services. They'll be able to track a special note for anything that they discover related to this person through their serving that individual. And that's a way to just be able to print all of those without having to navigate into each specific note to read it. And then the service utilization one is specific to prior authorizations and services and being able to print for this person all of their services so that you can see what they have for authorized units and what they have for used units.
And then the view profile, really kind of neat, wherever you are in the case. If you just need to know their address, the phone number, or this sort of information, click it and it's available there. I don't think we need to do that.
Those are called shades. So they just come down over whatever screen you're on. So they're really cool because you don't have to navigate away from your guardianship conservatorship form or wherever you might be within the person's record to see that information. You could just click it and it like overlays, and then you can just click it again and it goes away. So that's super cool. David, just to expand on Julie's question, I did quickly pull up the ACL and I did confirm that like public guardianship conservatorship representatives will be able to view those like most of those forms. So DD eligibility forms, person-centered plans, reportable events, all the different crisis type forms, the list goes on. But yeah, they'll be able to view pretty much all of those and also person progress notes. So you'll have some access to view a lot more stuff now that EIS functionality is coming in here.
And not only will you be able to do it directly from the person part of the Evergreen, you don't even have to go to a new program.
Right.
All right, so there are some new dashboard features. So the caseload tile will access the person's dashboard, but that's not active for us at this point in time. We're still going to go up to our queries, right here, and you'll have your caseload there to go there. But when you land on that person, it will look like what I showed you just a minute ago. When you get into the person record, that's going to be different. And each one of those will have its own summary page that you will go to that looks exactly like what we showed you. You can add a task just by adding a new task. Okay? If you're a supervisor, you can add a task and assign it to your one of the people that report to you. And that's what it will look like when you're in there, what the task is, if it has a specific due date. So yeah, it automatically, the assigned to will automatically defer to the person that is logged on. It will refer to you if you're the user. If you are a supervisor, you will have the ability to choose one of the people that work for you. And marking the task complete is as simple as going into the upper left-hand corner and clicking the little box saying that it is done. If your supervisor has assigned this to you, your supervisor will get notification that that task has been marked completed. You know, we've talked about send messages. Right? Here's the menu item. You can do a new appointment, a new note, or a new message in the case, right directly from this menu that's up here at the top when you're in the case. And that's what your message center will look like. Depending on how you have your Outlook configured, it might look exactly like it, but it's you know, very, very much similar to it, and you can respond, delete, archive, whatever you want to do as far as those messages are concerned. But it, again, it will not appear in your Outlook. It will only appear in Evergreen. Just not make sure there's no confusion about that. My notes in the home page. These can be accessed from the navigation header using the icon of the pencil and paper right next to the search functions. You can click in your My Note box and add one right here, new note. So you can click that to add a new note, or if you're in My Notes, you can click add a new note and you'll get exactly the same idea. Same thing will show up. And it's just a way to kind of keep notes of what you're doing without having to exit the program. You can save them, you can delete them. If you got a call and you got to return a phone number, you can write it down in the middle of the case and just keep it there, call it back, delete it, whatever. It just provides a little more functionality and makes it a little easier to do the job, actually. So we can take a look at that. Hold on a second. So here we are. I'm going to go back to the home page. There we go. And again, new note up here right next to the search function. I can add a new note, or I can go down to my messages inbox and hit new note. Okay. My notes is the sticky notes. I can read the ones I have open. I can write a new one. Just have to type a new note number. If I just need to remember to make that call, it's going to be there. I can save it. And it won't let you save one if you haven't typed any information. But there's several ways to access it. So you can send a message, which is like an email, and a My Note is the sticky note. All right. We're just about done. All right, so we have done pretty much everything on the dashboard. You already know this stuff. As I said, all the functionality that you currently have, you will continue to have. There's a few new things that have been added. The biggest difference is going to be it's going to look different. That is all. You're going to have tiles that you can maneuver around. You can get to pretty much anything you need to get from your home page, sometimes with less clicks, never more work, and you're going to have some increased functionality. Are there specific questions? You know, there's going to be further updates regarding Evergreen and deployment. It is all hands on deck trying to make sure that we get this out in a timely manner, but also that it has all the functionality that has been promised. So be aware of when it's actually going to roll out. I forget the scheduled date, Leslie.
We're actually still working to revise the reschedule of deploy date. So we're hoping to make a public announcement about that in the next few days here, David.
Yeah, I know we had goal dates at one point, but
Yeah. Yeah, we're not sharing any specific date right now because we want to make sure that whatever date we do share is a valid date. But I'm hoping to know more. I actually have a meeting tomorrow to discuss that. I'm hoping to know more by next week. So we're hoping to get that message out to everybody quickly here. But keep your eyes peeled. It certainly is coming up soon. It's just a matter of settling on a date and when exactly that's going to be. But we will be sending out some formal communications later this month on that.
So to answer your question, Julie, all the functionality is going to be the same. You're going to work essentially the same way. As far as whether everything is going to look the same, no, it's not. It will have all the same functions, but it might appear in slightly different places. So where you would look for some navigation bars at the top, you're now going to be looking on the left. And then when you click on those, the submenus are going to come to the right of that menu bar that has icons. Only real name change is going to be the person folder instead of the person profile. But other than that, it's going to not look the same, but be the same.
Yeah, definitely. All of your functionality will be the same. You'll still access things in the same place. So definitely if you're currently accessing your investigation through your query, that query will still be there. You should still go to that query to access that. Just yeah, the design, the layout is different for you, the look and feel.
Any other questions? Come on, now's the time. So I have a test environment to play in. That is not open to everybody. So
That said, we do have a training sandbox environment that we have been trying to get all of our release 3 users into. I can follow up with Nancy Kitchen and see if there's ability to add release 2 users to that environment. If anybody feels, like specifically like if, public guardianship, conservatorship representatives feel like they need that access. I am not sure if we have enough test person records, but I can definitely follow up on that and see if that's something that somebody feels really strongly that they need. But again, I think hopefully it's not going to be a very jarring experience for all of you, because again, it's all of your functionality is staying exactly the same. It's really just about when you log in after the deploy that first day, you're going to see that dashboard and your search bar is going to be in a different place, and then when you get into your forms and your person record, your menu is going to be on the left rather than across the top. So
and as much as I possibly can, I will make myself available. So if there is, a group, say for instance, of PGRs that have questions, we could do a Zoom call, and I can show them the test environment. They can ask me questions, and we can try to act it out in real life, so you can look at it and see what that looks like. But it really is going to be very much the same functionality. The only difference is, what it looks like when you click on it. And Julie, we did address the, okay. Go ahead, Leslie.
yeah, no, yeah, we don't have a definitive date yet, but coming very soon. So keep your eyes peeled. We'll hopefully be sharing the definitive deploy date within the next few days here.
So bottom line, you're not losing anything, but you are gaining some things. And we're asking you to look a little closer because some things might not be where you're used to them.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess one last thing I would throw in there as well is, you know, if when we go live and you get into the system, if you have any questions or concerns, continue to use the same support avenues that you have been using. So if you're having technical difficulties, you can definitely reach out to the FEI help desk. If you have more of like a business process related type question, definitely use your Evergreen support email box. Or if you need some additional hand-holding help, training, that kind of stuff, definitely reach out to David. But definitely continue to use those same support avenues after we go live. I'll likely be leaning on David to help me continue to monitor the Evergreen support email box right after we go live, because I'll have a whole, my team will have a whole set of new users in the system that are also going to need way more support than you guys, because they won't know how to use anything in there really. So we'll be supporting them through another email address. I'm gonna keep them out of the Evergreen support email box and just keep the APS public guardianship people in the Evergreen support email box so that David can hopefully help answer your questions a little bit faster.
And if anybody's fretting too much out there, you know, that was good advice on the Evergreen PowerPoint. Just breathe. We
Yeah.
rolled Evergreen out in May, June of 2019, and within 6 months, I was getting barely any requests for assistance.
Yeah.
We mastered it quickly, and this is much less of a change than going from Mapsys to Evergreen or going from EIS to Evergreen. So you've got this.
Yeah, for sure. I'm sure within a week or so, you'll be just like, you won't even remember what the old look and feel was.
All right. I can give you back almost an hour of your time.
Amazing. Everybody likes extra time. Thank you so much, David. It was a great presentation, very helpful. This is being recorded. We have another session, exactly the same one tomorrow morning, and that one will also be recorded, and we will post one of the recordings as well, or make available one of the recordings for staff after.
We'll probably be smoother tomorrow.
Yeah, we get the kinks out. So thanks for hanging with us today, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.